Many gay and lesbian individuals are involved in emotional or sexual relationships with people of the same sex. From the perspective of the psychological perceptions of the parties involved, there is no difference between these relationships and heterosexual ones. Throughout recorded history, homosexual relationships and actions have been both admired and condemned, depending on the form they took and the cultures in which they existed. Since the late 19th century, there has been a significant struggle to increase the visibility and recognition of homosexuals, along with the attainment of legal rights such as marriage, civil partnerships, adoption, parenting, employment, military service, and equal access to healthcare. In the past, homosexuals and those engaging in homosexual relationships were subject to penalties. In the image, we see the live burning of two homosexual knights described as boy lovers in front of the walls of Zurich in 1482. In Greek mythology, the death of Hyacinth, a beautiful youth loved by Apollo, is depicted in the painting The Death of Hyacinth by Jean Brock, where two lovers are portrayed amidst hyacinths. In Istanbul, during the Istanbul Pride March held on the last day of Pride Week on Istiklal Avenue, two gay individuals are seen. Homosexuality, which has sparked extensive debates and attempts at cure through unimaginable methods in the past, is no longer considered a disease by modern science. For the last 35 years, psychologists, psychiatrists, and other mental health professionals have confirmed that homosexuality is not a disorder, mental illness, or emotional problem. In 1973, the Board of Trustees of the American Psychiatric Association decided to remove homosexuality from the category of mental disorders. This decision was ratified by the majority of members at the annual general meeting of the American Psychiatric Association the following year, 1974. The American Psychiatric Association reaffirmed this decision at its 2006 general meeting. Similarly, on May 17, 1990, the World Health Organization removed homosexuality from the list of diseases. This decision was officially recorded in the ICD-10 International Classification of Diseases list in 1992, and since 1994, all WHO member countries have started using the new classification. Medical science has identified homosexuality as one of three different sexual orientations, something inherent and not chosen by the individual, either from birth or determined by the ages of 3 to 4, and this condition has been recognized and accepted, granting homosexuals in many developed countries various rights, including official marriage between same-sex couples. Alfred Kinsey, an American sexologist and author, introduced the Kinsey Scale, also known as the heterosexual-homosexual rating scale, in his work Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. In this scale, he famously stated, "The world is not to be divided into sheep and goats." The consensus among behavioral and social sciences and mental health fields has long been that homosexuality and bisexuality are normal and positive variations of human sexuality and are not considered pathological. The position of the American Psychiatric Association is that most people experience little or no sense of choice about their sexual orientation. However, some individuals and groups portray homosexuality as a developmental disorder or a sign of religious and moral decay, claiming that psychotherapy and religious efforts, including sexual orientation change efforts, SOS, can change a person's homosexual feelings and behaviors. Many of these individuals and groups support biased values that denigrate homosexuality. Major mental health organizations do not endorse efforts to change sexual orientation, with almost all of them adopting principles that warn against treatments aimed at changing sexual orientation. These organizations include the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association, the National Association of Social Workers in the United States, the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and the Australian Psychological Society. Concerns have been raised by the Royal College of Psychiatrists about the lack of scientific support for organizations like the National Association for Research Therapy of Homosexuality, NARTH, and their so-called reparative or conversion therapies, which may contribute to prejudice and discrimination. In 2012, the Pan American Health Organization, the North and South American branch of the World Health Organization, issued a warning against services aiming to treat non-heterosexual orientations due to being medically unproven and dangerous to human health. The organization emphasized the ethical obligation to report such unethical treatments that violate health services and human rights, suggesting sanctions under national regulations. The Pan American Health Organization stated that such unethical treatments often involve the violation of the freedom of individuals and may result in their isolation for months. Flexibility of sexual orientation. The American Psychiatric Association statement acknowledges some people believe that sexual orientation is innate and fixed, but sexual orientation develops throughout a person's life. The Center on Addiction and Mental Health states, for some people, sexual orientation may be constant and fixed throughout their lives, while for others, sexual orientation may be flexible and can change over time. Regardless, it must be emphasized that homosexual attractions, behaviors, and orientations are normal and positive variations of human sexuality. In other words, they are not indicative of a mental or developmental disorder. There is no experimental research supporting the idea that homosexuality arises from a troubled family life or trauma. Don't forget to like and follow for more videos.